It's not a timeshare. No, no, not timeshare. Good afternoon. So I wanted to go over an article today that I found fascinating about fractional ownership of homes. This is nothing new, but I did see this on NPR of all places, and I wanted to go over it with you. So let's get to it. It says a startup is turning houses into corporations, and the neighbors are fighting back. So what's this about? So turns out there's this company, Pacaso, started by it's co-founded by a Napa residents, and it converts houses into LLCs. Pacaso then sells shares of these corporate homes to multiple investors. Uh, sure enough, the house on the cul-de-sac was on its website. The company had named the house Chardonnay and was now willing to sell investors the chance to buy a 1/8 share for $606,000. So these neighbors weren't very happy. Started by two people from Zillow. You know what I think about Zillow after their iBuying foray, and when they became a brokerage. That's when Zillow and I are not friends. So anyway, Spencer Raskoff used to be at Zillow. Then the idea is to make a second home ownership possible for more people and, of course, make money. Pacaso uses a fractional home ownership model. They buy a house, lightly refurbish it, and furnish it, and then create an LLC for it. They then divvy up ownership of the corporatized house into 8 fractions and sell those shares on their website. If you buy a share in the house, you're able to stay in 44 nights per year in increments that can't exceed 14 consecutive days per visit. You can also gift these stays to friends or family. They've got an app, of course, everyone's got an app to handle the logistics of booking stays. It oversees management, maintenance, and cleaning up of the property. In exchange for all of this, it charges 12% of the home's purchase price up front and monthly fees going forward. If you buy a share in the house, you have to hold on to it for a year. After that, you can sell it and profit from any appreciation in the home's value or be on the hook for any depreciation. And so this was in Napa, California. This article is based on the people, were like, what is going on with this house? And it turns out it was bought by Pacaso. And they were upset. And says, they say that he and his neighbors saw Pacaso's newfound business model as nothing more than a glorified timeshare with a legal strategy aimed at skirting regulations that are designed to keep communities intact. Protest signs festoon the neighborhood's lawns, fences, and cars. They say things such as "Stop Pacaso" and "Not Here Pacaso." Day's favorite sign reads, "The Pacaso house is the big one on the right with no soul." So then it talks about another house that Pacaso bought. It's as it is on Old Winery Court, controversy erupted in Napa after the company bought a home worth $1.13 million. That's about 35% higher than Napa's median home price. Pacaso insists it only buys luxury and ultra luxury houses and therefore isn't competing with local middle class families in the housing market. But this home, located 2 blocks from a high school, didn't quite fit its talking points. Some Napans were pissed. Pacaso says the house was the victim of trespassing and illegal signage. Pacaso even claims it had to file a police report after a local wrote to the company and said, "I will burn down any home you buy in Napa. This is no joke." Now, one of the owners is living in Napa, so that's kind of funny. The company also pledged to beef up its owner code of conduct to include decibel limits on all home sound systems, create a local liaison dedicated to assist neighbors not to buy any areas in the home for under $2 million, and for each house sold in Napa and Sonoma counties, donate $20,000 to a local nonprofit dedicated to affordable housing. So, Pacaso says that it's not a timeshare. Unlike a timeshare model, the co-owners that Pacaso serves collectively own real estate, not time, says the director of community and government relations for Pacaso. So basically what happened was these people were in Napa and they were like living their life, right? And then somebody in their neighborhood sold. And they sold to Pacaso. Pacaso fixed up the house and then they divvied it up. 1/8 of a share to each person. And now understand, this was at, I believe, $606,000 for 1/8 of a share. So we're not talking about homes. You know, the median price of a home in the United States is, I believe, $413,000. So we're talking about a luxury home in this particular space. But because they said they're not a timeshare, and I just wanted to look and see, this is types of timeshare ownership. It's on Investopedia. I don't know if it's reputable or not, but it says shared deeded ownership give each buyer a percentage of the physical property corresponding to the time period purchase. A resort condominium unit that is sold in the timeshare increments of 1 week can technically have 52 total deeds. So apparently you can. Apparently it's very similar to a timeshare. So I went to Pacaso's site, and they're very, very big on forgetting that it's a timeshare. It's not a timeshare because, see, you have this comparison on the front page, and it says, or on the home page, it says, a resort or timeshare is usually a hotel or condo, whereas this property type is a single family residence. And then true ownership, it says, yep, it's real property. This says no, but you can't see that there. No right to use time. And then usage, ongoing access, and fixed weeks. Resale approach, market pricing, selling your terms. Set pricing, sell with resort. Now, I don't know if you have a right to sell the house at Pacaso. Do you get an agent? Are you, what's that all about? Or do they sell it for you too? Anyway, here's one on their website. Ocean Boulevard, $1,263,000 for 1/8 of an ownership. And I did go over the neighbor FAQs because, you know, I was curious. It says Pacaso is selling a share of a home in my neighborhood. What should I expect? You can expect very good neighbors. So anyway, I had some thoughts. I had some questions. Thought we could go over them together. One, joint ownership of a property isn't new. It's quite common in commercial property. So that's not this has gone, this has gone on for 1,000 years. So I don't really have an issue with the type of ownership. Okay. And then I put Pacaso in the same space as I do any Wall Street funded corporation that's set up to buy single family homes. I do believe there needs to be regulation in this area. These companies are not single family homeowners, and they should be taxed at the commercial level at a minimum. I mean, it doesn't make any, if you're owning your home in an LLC, okay, that is a corporation. It's no longer a single family homeowner. Now you say, well, you could be shielding your assets. What about trusts? Look, I think we can agree that this is a corporation that owns this house. At least in the beginning. I mean, they bought it. That's how they're able to get out of, like traditional real estate models where you'd have to have some sort of third-party buyer. This way, they're buying it themselves and they own it themselves. So there does have to be something done. I mean, this is not good long-term for the housing market. The argument over whether or not Pacaso is a timeshare is a legal one. And that will be settled by the courts. I don't see how it isn't, but I'm not an attorney. So looks like a timeshare to me. It's fractional ownership, but whatever. But the one thing I wanted to mention was without technology, this just isn't possible. The ability for Pacaso to grow so quickly with this model is something to behold, even if they do have strong financial backing. I mean, the idea that they started this company in 2020 and they've got $1 billion behind them, or $1 billion market cap. I don't know. You know more than I do about that. But the idea that you have all this money behind you, that you can start these companies is just, and then to have all the, the websites and the apps in place it's just amazing. And then I had a question. I said, if Pacaso were to stay in the luxury home market, would you have a problem with it? And I say it because on my show that I live stream daily, we look at many ultra luxury homes across America that sit vacant for years while listed for sale. If you're a middle class homeowner, how are you being harmed by this company? In some ways, shouldn't people that have the means to own a second, third, or fourth home be able to enjoy these homes that are honestly sitting vacant? I mean, we looked at a house the other day that was on the market for over 10 years. I mean, it's just sitting there vacant. The homeowners in Napa who are protesting have every right to do so. It must be seriously disconcerting to have corporate owners in their neighborhoods. However, this trend of corporations buying single-family homes is only accelerating, and there seem to be few answers or very little willingness for any politician to get involved in this. It's bad. The business model for Pacaso is a dream for most companies, 12% off the top of the sale, whereas a typical real estate transaction is in the 5 to 7% range. And then they get the management fees on top of that. So, I mean, that is a great model. Think about it. You take a house. It's not like an iBuyer per se. You can buy any home you want to on the market, okay? You buy it, you fix it up, furnish it, okay? The minute you sell it to these 8 people, you own the house. So you're selling to these 1/8 of a share to these people. You could pretty much sell it for whatever somebody will pay for it, okay? And then, so you get lots of cash, and then you get the management fees on top of it. I mean, it is a fantastic business model. They should be commended for that. And then I was just curious. I mean, what do you think about this? What do you think about Pacaso? Is it a terrible thing? Is it a good thing? Is it a terrible soulless corporation exploiting single-family home communities? Or is it an innovative way to structure real estate deals so that more people can be involved in the ownership of luxury properties? I don't have an answer. I typically am not big fans of corporations. I think the startup scene's a little strange. But that's where I'm at. If it wasn't Pacaso, it was going to be somebody else. You know, and the issue is how much control over single family homes are we going to give corporations in the United States? And what are we going to do to stop it? Or are we going to stop it at all? Are we going to just all be renters at some point in time? How is this going to work? That's what I have. I mean, what do you think? Let me know. With that, I'm going to head on out. Learned about a new type of company today. Fractional ownership of single-family homes. It's here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one.